Good morning, YouTube. It is kind of a little bit of a different venue today. I'm actually at work, but since I had some time and it is Thursday, I decided to go ahead and do a quick video. And today's video is going to be another intro to tarot because it's been a little while since I've done one of those. So, I promised I would explain to you guys how to take two cards and put the story together. Okay? So here we have the Seven of Swords. I just randomly drew it off the top of my deck. But you can see he's stealing the swords. He's looking behind him and he's going to get caught. So you can put together pretty easily that this is somebody who's brazenly stealing something in the broad daylight, since you see the sunlight. They're not getting caught. Nobody's really catching on. You know, I'm sure you can pick up more if you look at it. But that's the first thing to pop out to me. He's brazenly stealing in broad daylight. Nobody's catching him. There's some people over here, but they're just not paying attention. So, yeah, we got our thief. Nobody notices. The Queen of Swords card. We have a woman who seems to be pretty nice. You know, she's got her hand raised. Telling you to come forward. She's going to listen. She has her sword there, so she is ready to take justice into her own hands if needed. Or to cut people away if needed. Not literally cut them in half, but, you know, maybe literally cut them in half. Let's put it that way. We don't know. But yeah, you know, she's got a little bit of storm clouds behind her. So this lady's got a little bit of a temper. And we can confer that because, you know, storm clouds behind a person, you can kind of assume this is something pressed down deep within them. Just kind of looking at them. Or this is how it works for me anyway. You might look at it and decide it's something else. That's the fun part of reading tarot, is that it's what you make it be. So you see she's got the little bird over her head. Almost like, you know, he's fleeing before the storm. So, with these two cards together, we could say the thief stole, he got away. Nobody noticed when he was doing it. Broad daylight, he did it. The Queen, or perhaps the person who was stolen from, I mean, I'll explain what I mean in a minute, but this card, how it comes up in your reading will determine who it means. If this means justice catching him, if this means the person who did it catching him, whatever. In this case, I'm going to say that this is the person that I'm doing the reading for who wants to know who the thief is. So I would tell them, well, I see you as the Queen of Swords. I feel like I'm picking up this very analytical, in control, nurturing energy about you. You have a strong mind. You know by power of deduction who this person is. The best way I could tell you to go about it would be to sit down and talk with everybody that you think it could be, and then let your mind tell you and your intuition tell you who seems most guilty and go from there. So now we could take this card and say, okay, so we know she's upset. We know there's a storm brewing because she's been stolen from, or he. This could go for either gender. We know they've been stolen from. We know they're upset. And we know that they're not going to go about accusing everybody right off the top of the bat. But that sword is ready so that when they do find the person who did it and realize they're guilty, they can take the proper action from there. Now, we can look at this as, you've been stolen from. This person got away with it. Broad daylight. Nobody noticed. There may even be people who were hearing the thief's side and believing the thief over you. That is something I've had come up with this card. Now, it's your time to sit back, listen to everybody who could have been involved, and figure out who it was, and go from there. You may need to do more than that. Let's add another card to the mix. Now, you see what I'm doing so far? I'm making a story per card, and then tying the two stories together. It's not as hard as it sounds. You've seen what I just did. Of course, it is a little bit easier for me because I know what I'm going to imagine for these cards. For you, I'm going to tell you to look at these two cards. Imagine the person you're doing the reading for or yourself. Imagine what these cards meant for them or you. It's the best way I can tell you. Take your deck, pull two cards, imagine what the card's telling you, and then imagine that there's a person asking you the question and you got to answer them. That is the best way to have the cards talk to you. The next card is the Sun. So, again from the start, we have the thief. Somebody did something brazenly, didn't get caught. People may be believing them over the person who was victimized. The person who's victimized wants to find out who it is and is ready to interview everybody until they find them out and then release the storm on the guilty party. However, the Sun card says that things are going to be better. You're going to find the person, you're going to get your justice, and all is going to be well. You see how I just did that? Now, by itself, we know the Sun card is good things. The Sun card is one of the best cards in the deck. I already talked about this in my previous videos, so make sure if you don't start with this video, this is meant to be watched after you've watched all of the other Intro to Tarot videos. The Sun is a good card. This is the best positive omen card there is. So when this comes up in a reading like this, you know all is going to be well. I'm going to do it one more time and try and make sure I'm explaining things a little bit better, okay? Okay, got the 8 of Cups. You see the gentleman is walking away from his 8 cups, but there's one missing. So he feels like he's missing something in his life. He's got the sun and the moon over here. Things kind of look dark, so maybe it's an eclipse, or maybe, he's just not seeing the sunlight through his depression. This could come across in a couple different ways. This could also just be totally ignored and just look at this. So, that's the story of this card. He's in search of something. He should be happy, but he feels like he's missing something, right? The next card is the 10 of Coins. So, this is somebody who has so much resources in their life, money, food, housing, clothing, whatever you pentacles resonate with for you, that it's overflowing, it's overabundance. It's overabundance to the point of taking it for granted. So we can confer that either he feels like he's missing resources or that he has taken money for granted and taken his resources for granted and doesn't realize what he has at home. For this, the best way to go about it would be to ask the person you're reading for, okay, I see this card. Is resources a problem for you, or do you have a lot to the point that maybe you take it for granted? And then they can answer your question from there. Once they answer the question, then you can determine what the last card is going to mean. I'm going to assume that the person was having money troubles. They're looking for more money, okay? They want this overabundance, and they can't find it. I got the 5 of Swords. Now, the 5 of Swords is, there's 2 ways you can read this. This man has obviously beaten these 2, and he's gloating over it. But perhaps it's unfair, kind of looking at how these 2 are really beat down and he's not. Either he was the better sword fighter or he tricked them to win. You can see their swords kind of thrown down in defeat. They give up, whatever. But he's already got 3 more. This is somebody who does this a lot. So, you could be the person who was beaten unfairly, or you could be the person doing the beating unfairly. To go with this theme of feeling like he doesn't have enough and he can't get it, I'm going to say he's the person being beaten unfairly. So I'm going to say that perhaps there's a pattern in his life where he feels like his jobs always take advantage of him. He always gives more than he gets back. He always gives more than he gets paid for, maybe working off the clock, maybe not getting paid enough per hour for the work that he does. And he just accepts it because that's the kind of person he is. And the thing that he is searching for is the ability to change that about himself and make himself a more abundant person by standing up and maybe not necessarily entirely being this person who does the beating, but at least knowing how to fight them back. See how I did that? It's really easy once you get the hang of it. Again, take your deck, pull out a card, let it tell you the story. Pull out the next card, let it tell you a story. And then look at the 2 together and realize how that story goes together. Is this another chapter? Is this maybe adding to the first chapter? Or is this maybe a before everything chapter? Now, one last round. We have death. This doesn't mean people dying. This means transformation, endings, changes, and how you accept it or deal with it is how it's going to be for you. If you greet it with open arms, like this priest, it's going to be better for you than if you turn away and fear it, like this girl. This baby doesn't even know there's anything to fear, so she's going to have the best time of them all. Right? Now, I have the King of Swords. This is a man who, again, you see how his sword is ready to cut away whatever's not necessarily needed. He seems like he's pretty stern, but fair. You see the butterflies? That's what makes me say he's fair. He's got a almost childlike quality about him, hidden away under all the tough. I don't see so many storm clouds, so this isn't somebody who's got much of a temper. Not that it's not there when you get to him, but it's not going to hit as hard as the Queen of Swords would. So now together, I'm going to say that there's been a transformation or a change, an ending. Something has gone on that has turned you into the more analytical and composed King of Swords. This could be anything. You'd have to ask your querent, or the person asking the questions, what's gone on lately? What's changed you, and what has made you become this more stoic, analytical person, not so emotional, but more of the mind? And they can tell you. Or perhaps the cards can tell you. I'm not going to do this one because that's going to make it a little too complicated. So let's do this one. Strength. So perhaps there was a situation. Well, no, let me tell you what the card means first. Strength means you're put in a situation where you really had to tap into yourself. You didn't know if you could do it until you did it. You were probably telling yourself you couldn't do it until you did it. So that's what strength means. This could also come across as meaning that you need strength in a situation. As with all cards, the meaning will change per reading and per person. We're going to go with, he was put into a situation where he needed his strength, and it burned away all of the overly emotional and over emotional and over judgmentalness about him, and made him into a more fair and stoic person. So this is a really good card for this person, actually, because this means that, maybe they weren't such a good person. Maybe they were a little over judgmental or a little over emotional, but now this strength has turned them into a more balanced, more fair, and more analytical person. So that's 3 options and 3 different ways to show you how to take a story out of a card and tell it together. That is something that is really a definite intro to tarot. It's one of the first things that you need to learn how to do. Until you get comfortable with that, you can do just the 1 card at a time and just tell the story 1 card at a time. However it works for you is what you need to do. Okay? I hope you've enjoyed watching this today. If you have, please take a moment to click the subscribe button and help get me to the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours that I need to get monetized. I want to be able to make money doing something I love and helping people, and I can't do that without you guys. It means the world to me, and every subscription I get, I do a little dance and celebrate every time. One day I promise I'll show you all what happens. All of the information you need will be in the description box below. The deck used and where you can get it, and more information about it, as well as all of my social media, Cashapp, PayPal, and Venmo. If you want to pay for a personal reading or send a tip or whatever, it's there. My Amazon wish list if you want to know what kind of cards I'm looking to get or send some yourself. Even how to get your own free natal chart done right online, easy peasy, no work on your end, and learn more about yourself. Well, in this spiritual journey, that's a good first step, let me tell you. Until next time, I hope you all have enjoyed, and I will see you all on Sunday with our weekly readings. Bye, guys.